In the quiet vastness of space, the cosmos unfurled like a canvas of endless possibility and latent peril. As the first glimmer of a distant star crept across the void, the outer reaches of the Sol system stirred in silent anticipation, a delicate balance maintained between humanity's resilient outposts and the formidable unknown beyond. Captain Aidan Nova stood on the bridge of the battleship Aurora's Edge, his eyes fixed on the infinite tapestry visible through the observation deck. The nebulae, vibrant yet hauntingly silent, painted the darkness with swirling hues of violet and indigo, serving as a constant reminder that beauty and danger walked hand in hand among the stars. The steady hum of the ship's engines resonated like a heartbeat, a reassuring cadence amidst the cosmic quiet. Nova's face, etched with the marks of countless battles and quiet sacrifices, reflected a lifetime of resolve. His eyes, deep and unwavering, seemed to hold the secrets of the universe, mirroring the vast expanse before him. Each line on his weathered visage told stories of previous conflicts, the price of leadership paid in silent perseverance and unyielding duty. Tonight, as the ship lingered on the edge of uncharted territory, the weight of impending conflict pressed down like the gravity of a dying star. Below decks, the crew moved with a measured calm that belied the tension pulsing through the corridors. The sterile hum of control panels and the soft glow of holographic star maps filled the ship with an air of both hope and melancholy. Here, in the confined spaces of the Aurora's Edge, every whispered conversation and fleeting glance carried the unspoken promise of survival, a promise born of shared hardship and the courage to defy fate. Rumors had begun to circulate through the ranks, faint whispers of an escalating conflict that threatened to shatter the delicate peace of the galaxy. The Galactic Alliance, once a distant force in the interstellar theater, was stirring with intentions as murky and unpredictable as the swirling cosmic dust outside. The threat loomed as large as the constellations themselves, its shadow stretching far and wide. In the stillness of the pre-dawn hour, as the universe held its breath, Captain Nova's mind raced with thoughts of what lay ahead. The vastness of space, with its infinite mysteries, had always been his refuge, a realm where honor and duty intertwined with the very fabric of existence. Yet tonight, that refuge was tinged with the bitter taste of impending sacrifice. Every star, every distant planet, seemed poised to become a silent witness to the unfolding drama of survival. With resolve hardening in his chest, Nova silently vowed that he and his crew would stand as the last beacon of hope against the encroaching darkness. The breaking of dawn was more than the start of a new day. It was a subtle, unwavering promise that even at the edge of oblivion, the flame of hope would continue to burn. The fragile calm that had cloaked the cosmos was shattered by a sudden, resonant decree echoing across the void. Deep within the control center of Aurora's Edge, alarms sliced through the quiet, and a digital broadcast filled every screen with a stark, inescapable message. The Galactic Alliance had declared war. The proclamation was as clear as it was chilling, a galactic ultimatum that left humanity teetering on the brink of annihilation. In the command hall, tension coiled like a living thing. Officers and engineers exchanged anxious glances as the implications of the declaration sank in. The broadcast, crackling with the static of distant, foreboding transmissions, outlined the Alliance's accusations with cold precision. They cited Earth's reckless ambition and hidden secrets as the catalyst for an inevitable reckoning. The words, harsh and unyielding, ignited a spark of terror that quickly spread among the ranks. Captain Aidan Nova absorbed the news with a grim determination that belied the turmoil around him. As he stepped forward to address his crew, his voice, steady and resolute, sliced through the cacophony of panic. "This is our reality," he declared, each word laced with both sorrow and steel. "We stand as the last hope for Earth. Our mission must be one of desperate valor." The crew's faces, lit intermittently by the flickering holographic displays, reflected a mixture of disbelief and resolve. In that charged moment, every officer, engineer, and pilot became a silent participant in the unfolding drama, a human chain bound together by duty and the haunting specter of defeat. Across the command center, intricate holograms charted the known stars and the vast, uncharted territories beyond, marking the projected path of enemy fleets. The meticulous display was both a roadmap and a stark reminder of the immense challenges that lay ahead. Every flash of light and pulsing signal seemed to warn of the overwhelming force that the Galactic Alliance now commanded. Amid the frantic preparations, whispered conversations revealed the raw human element behind the high stakes. A young communications officer, her voice trembling as she relayed intercepted messages, wondered aloud about the fate of distant colonies. An older strategist, his eyes heavy with the burden of past wars, muttered about sacrifices that would be demanded in the days to come. Their words, filled with quiet despair and flickering hope, painted a portrait of a crew standing at the crossroads of destiny. In the solitude of his private quarters, Captain Nova allowed himself a moment of introspection. Memories of loss and the weight of leadership pressed against him like the gravity of a collapsing star. Yet, beneath the layers of uncertainty, a spark of determination glowed steadily. He knew that every decision he made in the coming hours could mean the difference between salvation and oblivion. The declaration of war had not merely marked the beginning of a military confrontation, it had set in motion a chain of events that would test the very soul of humanity. As the Aurora's Edge readied itself for the impossible journey ahead, every member of the crew steeled their hearts. In that decisive moment, the declaration was not just a message, it was a call to arms, a rallying cry to confront the encroaching darkness. And so, with resolute minds and hearts burdened by duty, they braced themselves for the descent into a maelstrom of interstellar conflict, where every heartbeat echoed the desperate hope of a world on the brink. The silence in the bridge shattered with the sound of an urgent chime, a signal that summoned the key officers to the central briefing chamber. In the dim light of the war room, holographic displays flickered to life, projecting intricate schematics of distant star systems and encrypted tactical maps that wound through the darkness like the threads of fate. Captain Nova stood at the head of the assembly, his steely gaze fixed on the shifting images. Every face in the room, etched with anxiety and resolve, knew that this was the moment that would redefine their destiny. The mission was as audacious as it was desperate: infiltrate the blockade of the Galactic Alliance and secure the lost technology rumored to hold the power to shift the balance of war. Nova's voice broke the heavy silence. Our future depends on what we do now. We are sending Aurora's Edge into the heart of enemy territory, not just to fight, but to reclaim our hope. His words carried the weight of 1,000 silent prayers, resonating with the raw determination of a man who had faced impossible odds before. The crew listened intently as the details unfolded. Lieutenant Maravas, the brilliant navigator whose calm under pressure was legendary, stepped forward to outline the intricate plan. The technology we seek is hidden within an abandoned station orbiting a rogue planet, a relic from an era when secrets were currency. Our intelligence suggests it holds the key to neutralizing their overwhelming firepower. Her voice, clear and unwavering, belied the danger they all sensed. Around the table, the officers exchanged glances, each pair of eyes reflecting both fear and a fierce, unyielding commitment. The plan required more than just precision. It demanded faith in a cause greater than any individual. Engineer Tomas Reed detailed the technical challenges, describing the modifications made to the Aurora's Edge, an amalgamation of old Earth ingenuity and futuristic enhancements, to slip past the Alliance's defenses. Every component of the ship had been recalibrated, every system pushed to its limit. In a corner of the room, a young ensign hesitated before speaking up, his voice trembling yet resolute. "Captain, what if the technology comes with unforeseen risks? What if its power is too great for us to control?" His question hung in the air like a fragile thread, weaving the practical concerns of man with the ethereal call of destiny. Captain Nova regarded the ensign with a mixture of empathy and resolve. Every great risk carries its shadow, but without risk, there is no victory. We must trust in our ability to harness what we find, to turn it into our salvation rather than our undoing. His words, firm and compassionate, soothed the underlying fear while igniting a spark of hope. As the briefing drew to a close, the gravity of the mission settled over the room like a palpable force. The air was thick with a mix of anticipation and dread, as if the very fabric of space-time was holding its breath. With plans finalized and responsibilities assigned, each officer returned to their post, carrying with them the heavy burden of their duty. Later, as the corridors of the Aurora's Edge hummed with the quiet bustle of pre-mission preparations, Captain Nova found a moment of solitude on the observation deck. He stared out into the infinite void, the stars whispering ancient promises and warnings alike. In that silent communion with the cosmos, he reaffirmed his commitment to the mission and to the souls who depended on him. This call to action was not merely a military order. It was a summoning of every ounce of courage and resilience that defined humanity. The ship, its crew, and their collective spirit were about to embark on a journey where every decision could tip the scales between hope and despair. With hearts resolute and minds focused, they set their course for the unknown, ready to risk everything for the promise of a future reclaimed. As the Aurora's Edge left the relative safety of known space, the void opened before them like a chasm of infinite mystery and peril. The ship's sleek form cut through the darkness, its engines pulsing a steady, hypnotic beat that echoed the rhythm of hearts filled with both trepidation and hope. Every sensor and display flickered with streams of data, mapping out the treacherous passage that lay ahead, a labyrinth of asteroids, cosmic debris, and the ever-looming specter of enemy patrols. The corridors of the ship were abuzz with quiet determination. Crew members moved with a sense of purpose, their eyes occasionally drifting to the expansive viewports that revealed the silent majesty of the cosmos. Lieutenant Maravas remained at the helm, her hands deftly maneuvering through an intricate dance of coordinates and calculated risks. "Steady as she goes," she murmured, her voice a calm anchor amid the swirling uncertainty. Outside, a distant nebula glowed with otherworldly radiance, casting shifting patterns of light across the control panels and deepening the mystery of the dark expanse. Deep within the engine room, Engineer Tomas Reed monitored the vital systems with a meticulous intensity. Every hum, every flicker of light in the labyrinth of circuits was a promise that the Aurora's edge would hold together under the strain. The ship was more than metal and circuitry, it was a lifeline, a fragile bastion against the encroaching void. Reed's focused gaze never wavered, each diagnostic alert a reminder of the relentless battle between human ingenuity and the unforgiving laws of the cosmos. The journey through enemy territory was marked by moments of breathtaking tension. At one point, an unexpected surge of energy rippled through the void, a subtle yet unmistakable sign of an enemy scout passing in the distance. The silence was palpable, the crew collectively holding its breath as Mara adjusted the ship's trajectory to slip behind a cluster of space debris. In the narrow confines of the navigation bay, the soft clack of keystrokes and the murmur of focused voices created a counterpoint to the cosmic silence outside. "We're clear, for now," Mara reported, though the undercurrent of uncertainty lingered like a shadow. Amid the technical precision and calculated maneuvers, personal reflections wove through the minds of the crew. In a quiet corner of the ship, an officer gazed at a holographic projection of Earth, a distant, blue memory that symbolized both loss and longing. The image flickered, a reminder of a home now shrouded by conflict and the weight of what might be lost forever. Such moments of introspection underscored the enormity of their mission, to brave the abyss in search of salvation, even as every star outside whispered of danger and despair. For Captain Nova, the journey into the abyss was both a physical and emotional odyssey. Standing on the bridge, he felt the enormity of the challenge ahead and the solitude of command amid the infinite dark. The stars, ancient and unblinking, seemed to watch his every move, their silent luminescence both a comfort and a reminder of the countless unknowns that lay ahead. His mind churned with strategies and possibilities, yet beneath it all, there was an undeniable sense of awe, a recognition that they were venturing into a realm where fate and destiny danced on the edge of a razor. As the Aurora's edge pressed deeper into hostile territory, the tension on board grew palpable. The ship was no longer merely a vessel, it was a living symbol of humanity's defiance against the overwhelming odds. With every cautious maneuver, every whispered order, and every determined heartbeat, they stepped further away from the familiar and into the clutches of the abyss, where every moment was a precarious balance between hope and oblivion. Out in the endless black, where silence was shattered only by the hum of machinery and the whispered hopes of a dying world, the Aurora's edge encountered its first brush with the enemy. A flicker on the radar, a lone scout ship cutting through the darkness, was the harbinger of a collision between fate and defiance. In an instant, the calm of calculated navigation transformed into a maelstrom of tension and peril. The bridge erupted into a flurry of focused activity. Lieutenant Maravas's voice rang out, clear and unyielding, as she called the crew to battle stations. "Shields up, and prepare for evasive maneuvers. We have contact." The words sliced through the charged atmosphere, each syllable a command that left no room for hesitation. At the same moment, the ship's exterior cameras captured the enemy craft, a sleek, predatory vessel gliding ominously against the backdrop of glittering stars. Its design was a testament to cold, calculated efficiency, its contours smooth yet menacing, built for a singular purpose, the eradication of any threat to its master's dominion. Inside the Aurora's edge, the tension was palpable. Engineer Tomas Reed's hands flew over the control panels, diverting power and shoring up the ship's fragile defenses. The red glare of warning lights danced across his determined face as he monitored every fluctuation in the ship's vital signs. "We're holding, but not for long," he muttered under his breath, aware that every second brought them closer to a catastrophic breach. The enemy scout, silent and swift, began its attack with a burst of energy that rippled through the vacuum of space. Laser beams, incandescent and deadly, streaked across the void, forcing Mara to deftly alter the ship's trajectory. The Aurora's edge danced through a deadly ballet, twisting around incoming fire, its engines pushing it to the very limits of its capabilities. Amid the chaos, the crew operated as a single, unified organism, each action a vital note in the symphony of survival. On the bridge, Captain Aiden Nova maintained a steady, watchful demeanor. His eyes, fixed on the shifting tableau of battle, betrayed no hint of the turmoil within. Every command he issued was measured and precise, a lifeline of order amid the tempest. Target their propulsion arrays. Disable them, and we force them to stand down, he instructed, his voice resonant with unyielding conviction. His words were not mere orders, but a declaration of humanity's refusal to be vanquished without a fight. The enemy's lasers found their mark on the hull, igniting sparks that glowed briefly against the cold metal, a visual reminder of the stakes at hand. As the Aurora's edge swerved and countered, each crew member's resolve shone through the tension. In the tactical display room, a cluster of officers pored over schematics and battle patterns, recalculating maneuvers in real time. The constant chatter of strategic assessments blended with the rhythmic pulse of the ship's engines, creating a backdrop of controlled chaos. In a particularly intense moment, the enemy scout launched a salvo that seemed to echo through every fiber of the ship. The impact reverberated across the deck, and for an agonizing moment, time appeared to slow. Amid the flashing alerts and the surge of emergency protocols, Captain Nova's steady gaze met that of his second-in-command. In that silent exchange, unspoken words of determination and shared sacrifice passed between them, a bond forged in the crucible of imminent danger. As the battle raged, the Aurora's edge began to reveal its own secrets. Its advanced countermeasures and the ingenious modifications made by Tomas Reed proved to be formidable adversaries to the relentless assault. With a calculated maneuver that bordered on audacity, Mara redirected a burst of energy to destabilize the enemy's propulsion systems. The enemy craft shuddered, its graceful form betraying a moment of vulnerability before it lurched into a retreat. The immediate threat had been subdued, but the echoes of the skirmish lingered like a specter. The bridge fell into a brief, reflective silence as the crew took in the gravity of what they had just survived. Every member knew that this encounter was merely the opening salvo, a glimpse of the relentless storm that awaited them deeper in enemy territory. Yet, in the aftermath, there was also a flicker of defiant hope, a realization that even when pressed to the brink, their courage could ignite the sparks of a resistance that might one day turn the tide of war. As the Aurora's edge resumed its cautious advance through the star-studded void, the crew braced for the next challenge. In that fleeting moment between conflict and calm, the scars of battle mingled with the unyielding human spirit, a reminder that in the vast, indifferent darkness of space, every heartbeat was an act of rebellion against oblivion. A palpable chill settled over the bridge as Aurora's edge veered into the heart of enemy territory. The earlier skirmishes had been a prelude, a testing of metal and machinery, but now, the atmosphere was heavy with the weight of a looming duel. Captain Nova's eyes narrowed as he surveyed the approaching enemy formation on the tactical display. Amidst the chaos of flashing alerts and tactical readouts, one vessel stood apart, a flagship, its dark silhouette exuding an aura of cold authority. On a secure communications channel, a crisp, almost mechanical voice cut through the static. "Captain Aiden Nova, this is High Admiral Zarisfel. Your resistance is futile. Surrender the Aurora's edge and the relic technology, or face obliteration." The message was precise, void of emotion, yet laden with an unyielding resolve that challenged Nova's every instinct. Nova's reply was measured, his tone a blend of defiance and stoic determination. "Admiral Val, surrender is not in our vocabulary. We fight for a future where hope prevails over tyranny. Prepare to be proven wrong." His words, resolute and unwavering, seemed to echo off the cold metal of the bridge, resonating with every soul aboard the ship. The tension escalated instantly. In an orchestrated display of tactical acumen, Lieutenant Mara Voss maneuvered the Aurora's edge into a defensive formation, while Engineer Tomas Reed intensified the ship's countermeasures. The flagship's presence was overwhelming, a formidable blend of alien engineering and ruthless intent. It advanced with deliberate precision, every inch of its movement a calculated threat. As the distance between the two vessels shrank, a volley of laser fire burst forth from Val's ship, streaking across the void like deadly comets. The Aurora's edge shuddered under the impact, its hull illuminated in a brief, ghostly glow from the incoming barrage. In that fleeting moment, the world narrowed to the silent, raw intensity of the confrontation. Inside the flagship's bridge, the atmosphere was a study in contrasts. While Nova maintained his composed exterior, every command he issued was laden with the full burden of the stakes at hand. "Divert additional power to our deflector shields," he ordered, his voice slicing through the mounting tension. The crew sprang into action with practiced precision, each movement synchronized as if rehearsed through countless simulations of fate. Across the comms, Admiral Val's voice returned, calm, yet imbued with an almost imperceptible disdain. "You persist in this futile dance, Captain. The relic you seek holds a power beyond your comprehension, and its cost will be your undoing." His words, heavy with the promise of impending ruin, sent a ripple of determination through Nova's frame. With a deft twist of fate, the Aurora's Edge executed a daring maneuver. Mara's fingers danced over the console as she initiated a counteroffensive, redirecting a concentrated beam toward the enemy's propulsion system. The flagship convulsed as its momentum faltered momentarily, a crack in the armor of an otherwise impervious force. Nova seized the moment, his voice rising above the clash of battle. "Target their core systems. Disable their engines, and force them to negotiate." In the ensuing chaos, the conversation between the two captains became a battle of wills as much as it was of technology. Overlapping streams of tactical commands and piercing retorts, each word exchanged was a defiant challenge to the other's conviction. Val's voice, cool and unyielding, countered Nova's strategy with relentless precision, while Nova's resolute tone reflected a determination born of the sheer will to survive. For what seemed like an eternity, the cosmos bore witness to this duel of strategy and spirit. The rhythmic thrum of the Aurora's Edge, its engine straining, its shields shimmering, matched the steely cadence of Nova's commands. In that charged silence between blasts of light and bursts of energy, two leaders stood as the embodiments of opposing destinies, one a guardian of a fragile hope, the other a harbinger of relentless order. As the flagship's defenses began to waver under the relentless assault, Val's calculated words rang out one final time. "This encounter is over, Captain. You have proven your mettle, but your resistance has already sealed the fate of your people." Yet, even as the words were spoken, a flicker of uncertainty danced in Val's tone, a hint that perhaps the relic's mysterious power was not as one-sided as he had believed. Captain Nova, undeterred, locked his gaze onto the star-speckled void ahead. "Fate is not sealed by words, Admiral. It is forged by the courage to act against the darkness." With that, the confrontation reached its apex, the silent promise of a turning tide echoing through the interstellar battlefield. In that defining moment, as lasers crisscrossed the void and the fate of worlds hung in the balance, the confrontation transcended the mere clash of weapons. It became a profound declaration, a testament to the enduring human spirit, poised to defy even the most formidable adversary in the quest for a future where hope outshines despair. The silence that followed the confrontation with Admiral Val was heavier than any volley of enemy fire. Deep within the hull of Aurora's Edge, the hum of machinery seemed muted, as if the ship itself paused to reckon with the weight of what lay ahead. Captain Nova stood alone on the observation deck, watching the swirling violet clouds of the rogue planet's nebula drift like ghosts against the void. Below him, the derelict research station hung in orbit, a skeletal remnant of an era that had vanished before history could record its name. The ancient technology they sought waited within that rusting carcass of metal and memory. Intelligence reports had hinted at its power, a crystalline core engineered centuries ago to manipulate gravitational fields on a scale that could turn the tide of war or unmake worlds. Nova's chest tightened with the knowledge that the cost of wielding such power might eclipse any victory it could grant. A soft chime drew him back to the bridge, where Maravas and Tomas Reed stood over a hollow projection of the station's interior. The image flickered, highlighting corridors warped by time and systems long since decayed. Reed's voice, usually so measured, held a tremor. "We've calculated the retrieval trajectory. The core is intact, but the containment matrix is unstable. Any misstep could trigger a catastrophic energy discharge." Mara met Nova's gaze. "We can get it. But once we have it, what then? Deploying it against the Alliance risks annihilating millions, including our own crew if we misjudge." Nova's jaw clenched. The faces of those he'd lost, fallen comrades, the children of distant colonies he'd promised to protect, flashed through his mind. He remembered the silence after each explosion, the void swallowing voices and lives alike. He had vowed never to let that silence claim Earth. He dismissed the projection. "Bring me the core's schematics and safety protocols." His voice was steady, but inside, a storm raged. The ship's corridors pulsed with the anxious footsteps of the crew preparing for extraction, each step echoing the ticking of a cosmic clock. In his ready room, Nova spread the schematics across a transparent console. Streams of data scrolled relentlessly, revealing layer upon layer of security failsafes and energy dampeners. Yet beneath it all lay one immutable truth: the containment matrix was failing. Every attempt to stabilize it required a sacrifice of power the Aurora's edge could not spare without risking its own collapse. A single question throbbed in Nova's mind. Could he gamble everything on a weapon of unimaginable force? The silence pressed in until it became a presence, whispering the names of those who depended on his decision. He summoned Commander Alara Byrne, his second-in-command and the soul that tempered his steel. When she entered, her gaze was sharp, unflinching. "Captain," she said, voice low, "the crew awaits orders. We're ready to retrieve the core, but we need clarity. Are we using it as a deterrent or as a weapon?" Nova closed his eyes, feeling the weight of leadership like gravity crushing him into the deck. "I don't know," he admitted, voice barely above a whisper. "If we take it and don't use it, we risk being hunted and eventually destroyed. If we do use it, we become the same force of annihilation we swore to resist." Alara placed a steady hand on his shoulder. "Then we choose what defines us, Captain, not what destroys us." His answer came in the hush of resolve. "We retrieve it. We control it long enough to demonstrate its power, to force the Alliance to negotiate. And if they refuse, we'll have no choice but to use it. But not to kill. To cripple their fleet's capacity for war." His voice hardened. "That is our line." As the Aurora's edge maneuvered into docking position, Nova's mind drifted one last time to the silent expanse outside. Hope was a fragile thing, a single ember in the darkness. Yet it was that ember, kindled by choice, that separated humanity from oblivion. Below, the extraction team prepared. Above, Captain Nova steadied himself for the moment when fate would slip from the hands of the gods and rest in the grasp of one mortal choice. As the Aurora's edge gently disengaged from the ghostly orbit of the derelict station, the cosmos itself seemed to exhale, a vast, silent breath marking the end of one chapter and the tentative beginning of another. The retrieval had been executed with both brilliance and heartbreak. In the dim light of the extraction bay, the ancient core pulsed with an otherworldly luminescence, its crystalline facets reflecting the hopes and sacrifices of every soul aboard the ship. In the aftermath of the perilous mission, Captain Nova stood at the helm, the weight of his decisions etched in every line of his face. The core's unstable power hummed like a heartbeat in the background, a reminder of the thin line between salvation and catastrophe. Now, with the relic in hand, the future of Earth, and perhaps the entire galaxy, hung in the balance. Across the bridge, the crew moved with a measured determination, their earlier fervor tempered by the gravity of what had been accomplished and the uncertainty of what was to come. Lieutenant Mara Voss monitored the recalibration of the ship's systems, her eyes flickering between the tactical readouts and the core's energy levels. "Stabilization is nearly complete," she announced, her voice a blend of relief and resolve. "We're holding steady. For now." In the quiet recesses of his private quarters, Captain Nova reviewed the final projections and strategic simulations. Each possibility carried its own cost, each outcome shadowed by the risk of unleashing a force beyond human control. The debates that had raged on the bridge echoed in his mind. Should the relic be activated to force the enemy to negotiate, or preserved as a deterrent for a war that might never end? With the core's eerie glow illuminating his face, he found clarity in the simple truth that hope must prevail even in the direst of circumstances. Elsewhere on the ship, Commander Alara Byrne gathered with the senior officers for one last strategic conference. Their discussion was measured and solemn, a careful weighing of potential futures. "We have the power to change the tide," she said, her voice firm but gentle, "but only if we remain true to the principles that set us apart. This is not a weapon of annihilation. It is a promise that we will not stoop to the level of our adversaries." The decision was unanimous. The relic would be used not to obliterate, but to disarm, not to destroy, but to compel dialogue. In a daring display of unity and moral fortitude, the Aurora's edge altered its course toward a prearranged rendezvous point, an isolated nebular crossroads where the Galactic Alliance's emissaries were known to patrol. The ensuing standoff was less a battle and more a high-stakes parley, punctuated by the silent language of power and determination. Captain Nova addressed the assembled fleet via secure channel. His words, resonant and unyielding, carried across the void. "Today, we choose a path defined not by vengeance, but by the preservation of life. Let our actions speak to the unbreakable will of humanity, a will that refuses to be crushed by tyranny. We extend an offer. Negotiate a future where conflict is replaced by understanding, and where our differences become the bedrock of a peaceful coexistence." The silence that followed was profound, filled with the potential for both redemption and ruin. For a timeless moment, the cosmos held its breath as the Galactic Alliance considered the unprecedented proposal. Then, a single reply emerged, a voice not of aggression, but of cautious hope. Captain Nova, your message has been received. We will deliberate and respond in due course. In that fragile pause, as the Aurora's edge sailed into the shimmering embrace of a nebulous dawn, the crew allowed themselves a collective exhale. Their journey had been fraught with peril and sacrifice, yet it had also ignited a spark, a beacon of possibility in a universe too often defined by strife. The scars of battle were indelible, yet they bore testament to a truth as ancient as the stars. Even in the darkest reaches of space, hope can light the way to a new beginning. With renewed resolve and a cautious optimism, Captain Nova turned his gaze outward. The future remained uncertain, a canvas yet to be painted with the choices of heroes. But in that luminous moment, as the relic's soft glow merged with the colors of a nascent dawn, the promise of a better tomorrow shone through.